Hello, and welcome to today's flight. We're situated here at George Airport in the PMDG 737. Today we're going to make a quick hop over to Cape Town with a Mango as MNO 432, and we're currently just starting at parking 1 at George. The boarding has just commenced. We're going to start boarding and loading up the crew, and the passengers are going to follow after that. So while we wait for everything to get going, let's hop in and get this aircraft started. Okay, so we're in the flight deck. Nothing has been done inside of the cockpit itself. Only thing I've done is just turn on the batteries and connect the ground power. So we'll be continuing the pre-flight from this point on and just getting it up to speed from the side. So first thing I want to do is get my RSs to align, and since we're in the cockpit, let's just make sure our position lights are enabled. And
Your passenger's bus is coming.
yeah, that's GSX just announcing everything happening around us. So I guess the passengers are going to start boarding now. So let's get over and just plug in all our data. So fuel information, today we're carrying a block fuel of 6747. So that's our fuel loaded, and then for payload we're full on first and economy class. I guess just cargo that we need to worry about. So our cargo load today is going to be 4 tons. So that'll be 2,000 in the forward cargo bay and another 2,000 in the rear. Cool. So let's go ahead and set up our position. Our reference airport today is going to be...
starting.
Okay, cool, so passengers are boarding. And here they come. Looking very happy and healthy. Okay, so our reference airport is FAGG, that's Foxtrot Alpha Golf Golf, that's George. Just going to plug in our GPS position for the RS. And you can see our instruments come alive. So origin, we're going to go ahead and fly over to Cape Town. Flight number is MNO 235, I guess it was. And the runway, let's just double check the runway. Our runway today is going to be runway 29, landing at 01. Just go ahead and enter our departure. 29. And I'll enter the route from there, so... I have a snapshot of the routes on a second monitor, so I'm just going to use that. So our route for today is going to be going direct to Edbull. And then from Edbull we're going to use the uniform Quebec '49 airway to Ezra. And then from Ezra we're going to use uniform Quebec 51 to go ahead and fly to Geeton, which is the final. Activate and execute. We'll go ahead and do our arrival. Eden 1 Alpha. And we'll leave out a transition. I guess we'll use that as a transition. Let's just double check our route. Just going to zoom in here and just double check the routing. So we're gonna go, I guess, direct to this waypoint. And we're gonna turn on to final. So that seems good. I'm happy with that. Just go ahead and do our performance. Zero fuel rate is calculated. Just 1 ton of reserve fuel, cost index of 30. I'm going to use 6.7 of fuel, and our cruising altitude is flight level 320. Okay, let's do flight level 220. Okay, and then our transition altitude, I guess, is going to be, let's check our transition. So to check the transition altitude, we're just going to go ahead and open our Navigraph. And I'm going to take George and do airport information. The airport information should give us the transition altitude. If not, I'm just going to assume it's 6,000 feet, which is fairly standard, I guess. Yeah, okay, let's just use 6,000. We're going to go standard deroad. Flaps 15. 4.22 on the trim.
I'm right next to her. Thank you.
And then V2 is 143. Okay, so that's it for the FMC setup. Let's see how our passengers are getting on. I'll wait for those to get going. I'm going to start the APU. So what I'll do is I'll turn on the off fuel pump, wait for the low pressure light to go away, and then start the APU. We're going to wait for the low oil pressure light to go away and then the EGT to rise. And go. Okay, so the APU has started, and we can go over to the APU generator bus and move this over to APU generator and make sure we're getting a voltage. And then I can open up the APU bleed and turn on our fats so we could get some air conditioning going for the passengers. And here's some fans spinning up as well. So while that is going, I can go ahead with our pre-flight and get us ready to go for departure. So for our pre-flight, I'm going to turn on the yaw damper. I'm going to leave the fuel pumps as they are. I'm actually just going to move to a better overhead view. We can test the stall warning. and the mark warnings, which are working. I'll leave this on battery for now, TR1. We are on APU power, so ground power can be disconnected. We'll turn on the fasten seatbelt signs. We'll turn on the window heats. We're going to turn on the
Passengers bus is coming.
electrical hydraulic pump, so long. And then we're just going to double check the temperature inside the cabin. It's a bit chilly, so I'm going to just make it a bit warmer. And then I'll leave the isolation valves still. I'm going to put in off cruise altitude of 320. And that should be fine. Now we just wait for the passengers to finish boarding, and then I'll catch you right back. While we wait, we can go ahead and start our pre-flight flows on the front panels. So with that meaning the barometric entries, so we need to set our altimeter. So currently we're QNH 1009, so we're just going to enter that into the PFD. Turn on the flight director and double check the master light is on, and then turn on the first officer next. We can turn our heading bug to runway heading. Which is roughly around about there, 290. And then we climb to, let's say, an initial altitude of 15,000. And then I guess we can set the anti-skid and auto brake to RTO. And on VNAV. And then we need to turn our transponder to TA. Okay, boarding is finished, and we have closed all the doors. Just gonna wait on the ground handlers to get us ready for pushback.
Commencing push. All engines clear.
Okay,
Started well.
let's go ahead with the start. Let's turn on all the fuel pumps. All of our hydraulic pumps can go on. Leave the preload off. APU bleed on. Backs off. Anti-collision lights on. Engine number 2 start switch ground. Wait for 20% N2. And introduce fuel. Start engine number 1 ground switch.
Please set parking brakes. Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
And then 20% introduce fuel.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect. Unlocking gear.
EGT is looking good. We have a good N1. There we go. Gears unlocked. Cool, and we can switch over to engine gens. Engine bleeds. Packs can go on. And the APU can go off. Oh. There we go. And we can turn our voltage selector to Gen 1 or Gen 2, doesn't really matter. Our taxi lights can go on.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear, right is clear.
Set our flaps to flaps 15 and our trim to 4.2. Looking good. Verify our speed, so our V1 speed is going to be 136 and our V2 is 143. VNAV and LNAV are armed, and everything is looking good, so we can just go ahead and remove that. Flap set, let's just do our flight control check, elevators, rudders, ailerons. Everything is looking fine. If you're incorrect, let's go ahead and taxi to our runway. Parking brakes off. Okay, so we're turning onto the runway now. Just trying not to overshoot. Not my best turn there. Okay, let's get onto center line. It's all there. Okay, cool. So, final stuff. Landing lights can go on, taxi lights can go off, engine start switches are continuous. We do have flaps 15, speed brake is disarmed, and auto brake RTO. We can go ahead and reset that, turn on our clock speed, 40% in one, and there we go. Speed alive, verify. Bit of forward pressure on the yoke. 80 knots. There's the rotate. Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. At this point I'm still hand flying it. And then we'll turn on the command A. Start lifting our flaps. Bit of a bumpy ride. thrown around quite a bit, so turbulence is crazy. At 6,000 feet we go ahead and transition to standard QNH. Let's go ahead and clear ourselves to 320. Go to standard. Really bumpy for that. Landing lights can go off, and I'm just going to keep the fasten seatbelt signs on at the moment until we get some better weather, at least less turbulence. I am expecting a fairly strong headwind as well due to the storms and everything going on lately in this part of the world. Okay, so you're on the top of climb. Everything is looking smooth besides a bit of turbulence, which is to be expected. And yeah, we're just going to cruise, go ahead and cruise, and show some cinematics, and then we'll get back to you when we commence our descent. Okay, so we are approaching our top of descent now. Let me just go in a bit more. I'm going to reset my MCP altitude to 3,000 feet, which is the final intercepting altitude for the RS. So I'll turn that down to 3,000 feet. I've still got the passenger seatbelt sign on since it's still quite bumpy, although it has settled down. So we'll just prepare for that in advance. What I'll also do now is just review our approach. If we have a look at the charts, we can just get a bit of an idea. So our approach we're going to use is the Geaton 1 Alpha approach. And we can overlay that on the map. So we are currently vectoring over to this side, and then around about here at D120, which is the intercepting radial, we're going to turn on a heading of 190 for radar vectors, and then we're going to turn on to final, which is what I've programmed into the FMC. So then I just want to go on to the approach. I noticed that DM is 6.7 and we need to turn on to final, so I'm going to put that into a fix for us. So 6.7 DME, we're going to need to turn on final. Then we need to choose our flap speed, and we're going to use flaps 40 with the final VO speed of 146, sorry. And we have commenced our descent. We also need to set our ILS frequency. Put that in. And a course of 0, 1, 1. There we go. Cool. So that is set up. And I also just need to verify our transition altitude, which I am certain is going to be 3,000 feet. I'll just put it as 3,000. And then our landing altitude is 151. So I'll do that. And our descent focus will make it 060. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're going to land in about 15 minutes, and the weather in Cape Town is looking very good today, with a temperature of 21. The wind is going to be quite variable, but not too strong, at roughly 20 kilometers an hour. We do expect very bumpy weather coming ahead on our approach as we cross the mountains due to those leeward winds. We'll be turning on the default and seatbelt signs, so please refrain from standing up, and please stow away any baggage as the crew requested. Cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for landing. So we are nearing 10,000 feet, so I will be turning on the landing lights. I will double check the default and seatbelt signs are turned on. I'm just going to level us off at the altitude we are at currently, just to pass some of these mountains, since we do want at least a couple of 1,000 feet separation. While we wait, I'll grab the weather for Cape Town so long. So we have QNH 1012, and there's the bumpy weather. So we'll enter that so long, and we'll put a radio minimums of 200 feet. go. And we can continue our descent. Oh, a bit fast in our approach. Go ahead and deploy a speed brake. So I'm going to be turning this onto base now to go perpendicular with the runway. And then one final turn to get set up for the localizer. And we're on the approach mode. Localizer has been captured, so we can bring down our gear. I'll set us down another flap setting and let's slow down to our VRF of 146. We have the glass slab captured. And the runway inside. Okay, perfectly lined up.
1,000.
Okay, I'll be taking manual control now. Slight crosswind from our left, but that's okay. Nothing too serious.
Approaching minimums.
Minimum is we are going to land.
Minimums. 20. 10.
Go. Applying reversers. There's 70 knots. Awesome. Bring up the spoilers and the flaps. And start the AP. Change landing lights. And vacate the bomber. Okay, let's turn off the engines. Welcome to Cape Town. There you go, thanks everybody for joining me on this flight. It was a bit of a tricky flight, really bumpy, and a slight crosswind on that landing, which kind of made things look difficult, but I hope you made the best of it and that you enjoyed this flight with me. Just go ahead and unload all of our passengers and get them safely to their destination. Thank you very much and goodbye.